What's good, grassroots world? I'm Chris Logan,
I'm Ernie Barber.
and we are the Flagrant 2 podcast, the one and only Flagrant 2 podcast. Back to you
We are
guys. Yes, we are
we are
back. Yep, coach. How you been, man?
good, man. Got out to see some basketball this weekend. I know you've been busy doing a lot of things, so just kind of getting back into it. Want to talk about 5A and 6A today. I'm excited to kind of go through 6A through 2A and maybe even get into some A, depending on how how long we want to go. But not today. Today's just going to be over 6A and 5A.
Yep.
Just excited to kind of get into the rankings, the preseason rankings.
Yeah.
I am going to make fun of one of the other rankings. I'm excited about that too, because it was really bad, even though it wasn't in 5A or 6A. But I'm still gonna give them a hard time because we can do that because it's our show.
I saw it. Yeah.
And then just kind of talk about what the rankings show today, and then kind of I want to get your thoughts, obviously, on that and what your thoughts are on some of the teams and then some of the individuals that you think will be big impacts this year on those teams that are going to go a long way. So I'm excited about talking about the show and talking about the players. This next podcast we'll do following this one will be 4A, 3A, and 2A. And like I said,
and we might even do more of a breakdown preseason special, but I really just kind of, you and I had seen the coaches, 5A, 6A. We saw it a while back, but we had, we did some other things on the camp. We did the prospects camp. We wanted to kind of, we wanted to double back on this because we have our own feelings and we wanted to kind of hit on this, maybe give our top 5-10 teams in 5A and 6A what we like at this moment, which is early on. And I know that they just had the previews. I was out of town and had to do some with my son. So unfortunately, I missed that event, but I do, enjoy that event. They do bring in a lot of great teams. I think Millwood did a good job with that. I definitely had some Okie ball undercover workers, reporters, the 9 there for me. So I have plenty that I know happened and video, and I know a lot about it. So but I would do it no other way than having good connected people that know what they're looking at. So looking forward to this season as I am every season that comes. Covering this game of basketball is really one of the greatest things, for guys like you and I. I mean, it keeps us involved. I mean, obviously I do behind the scenes with the stuff with dealing with coaches and players and recruits, but doing this kind of stuff, is fun. And we really enjoy showcasing these young men and their teams and all the hard work that they're going to put in. And, we've been pretty close on a lot of our projections preseason wise. Last year, I think that I only missed one. I think I missed Owasso. I think that's it. I think I got them all right. I think you got most of them all right. So it's like, we done a good job on that and we do our homework. So I know that the scrimmages are live and well. I tell you this, don't put too much into scrimmages, okay?
Exactly.
I've seen far too many undefeated off-season champs not do too well when the ball tips in the regular season. So take it for what you may. But it's still basketball is back, and that's always a great time. So love it, man. But I think we can just hop right into it. What do you want to start off with?
No, let's start off with 6A. I think to begin with, I'm kind of excited. Like you say, I watched what I saw last weekend in Norman when we had all the scrimmages and they did 15-minute or 20-minute scrimmages. I can't remember now, 15 or 20 minutes. Coaches were doing a lot of where they were trying to determine, like lineups and guys that were maybe 6 through 10 or 6 through 12 of guys to kind of figure out where they were going to place some of those players.
Yeah.
Because most of the coaches already know who their guys are.
Yeah.
Right. 1 through 5 they know, and maybe 1 through 6 they know who's going to be that 6th guy. But it's after that they're trying to figure out where does it line up, and then what lineups can they have for maybe a second lineup to give some of those guys a break where they don't step down in quality of play. And do they understand the sets? Do they get into do they move the basketball? Do they do the right things that the coaches have been kind of teaching and going over in practice? So I don't, like you say, I didn't take a whole lot into what I saw last weekend in terms of wins and losses, but I
Yeah.
did take away some things in terms of individual play. And I did get enough of a look at some teams that I'll talk about today, in terms of teams that I think are going to be not necessarily surprises, but
Okay.
I think that they're going to probably be in that state qualifying kind of conversation. May not be in the top 3 or 4, but I think that they're definitely going to be, uh, have a really good opportunity to make state, if they continue to improve based on what I saw this weekend. So,
Absolutely. And a lot of times, the reason why, for me, it's hard to judge these preseason scrimmages is because Oklahoma, like Texas and some other states, it's got a lot of two sport athletes. So a lot of the
yeah,
good players in Oklahoma play football.
yep,
So like when I grew up, when I was playing in Vegas, like you play basketball, you play basketball. And it's like very few guys play both. I mean, I played one season of football, but I'm saying it's few and far between. In Oklahoma and Texas, like, you know,
yep.
70-80% of these teams are missing some of their main guys because they're
Yeah,
playing football. So
Oklahoma's a football state, so
yeah.
no denying that. Absolutely.
Yes. So seeing that, it's sometimes you're just missing some intricate pieces. So it's, for me, it's hard to kind of judge a team if it's missing its second or third best player, and maybe in some instances their best player plays football. So,
Good.
and
Very
there's a
good.
number of schools like that here in the state. So, and same as it is in Texas. So I agree with you there. I think that we can go through and, like, we can look at the top 10 voted on by the coaches
Yeah.
preseason. Um, they have Owasso at 1, which, if you do, we just want to read these 10 and then kind of go
Well,
off of.
let's read the 10, and then
Okay.
maybe if there's
They,
something that's
they
not in the
voted
10 we
Owasso
could do.
at number 1 with 22 first place votes. We'll go through that in a minute.
Yeah.
2 is Norman with one
Yeah.
first place vote. 3, Broken Arrow, one first place vote. 4, PC North. 5, Union. 6,
Mhm.
Mustang. 7, Choctaw. 8, Southmore. 9, Edmond North. 10, Edmond Santa Fe.
Yep.
And then, like I said, we were going to mainly cover the top 10 today because we're doing it for purposes of time. But there's some teams that I like below that I'll talk about here
Yes.
in a minute.
Me too.
So going back to that, just starting at the top, I I don't have a problem with Owasso at 1. They're rightfully so. They have the top rated prospect, at least by most metrics and different national ranking services and things like
Yeah.
that. And Jalen Montnati, who we've talked about a million times on here, but I do think that they obviously have to play a different style than they have the last
Completely
few
different.
years, because they don't have a 6'11" guy that hey, you and I, by the way, before we get too far, we got that 6'11" guy is getting rave reviews by every person in St. Louis, including the head coach. And he's already talked about something that, I'll fire up a pod that you and I did, and we told you who might be a pro one day.
Yep.
Uh, and, and,
100%.
and we might look real smart when that comes out, because that was filmed about 2 years ago. You and I did. So
Yep.
we'll see. It's early. I'm not trying to put the cart before the horse, but I'm just saying the reviews are out there, and Jax Kerr is the real deal and looks excellent right now. So
Can step out, shoot the three, guard, protect the
yeah,
rim. He's 6'11", got
yeah,
long length for days, great
yeah,
attitude, works hard. There's so many things that you can go on
yeah.
and on
And,
about.
and I know this wasn't about that, but I had to mention him because we're talking about Owasso. But anyways, obviously with Jalen Montnati, I think Bowden Williams is going to have his best season. I
Yep.
know he's got a lot of people talking about him already.
I was more, and I'm not to cut you off, Chris, but I will say that's one of the games I watched,
Yeah,
and I was more impressed with Bowden's physicality and his ability and his athleticism, and his versatility
yeah,
than I've been since he was in high school.
yeah,
Not that he wasn't any of those things,
yeah,
but when I got to see him, he's legitimate. He's a legitimate D1 prospect, D1 player.
yeah,
And I've always kind of wondered, is that he is, and I
yeah,
think he's going to be a difference maker for him this year. I think, to your point, Jack's not helping with with rim protecting,
Mhm.
it changes Jalen's role on the team. And
Yeah.
what I saw is Jalen guarding the 4 or 5 on the other team because he's the one that's 6'6", 6'7", and so it's just, and not that that's how it's going to be throughout the year,
Yeah, because you get
but
away with it most nights. Most
yeah,
nights, you could probably get away with it, but depending on the matchup,
yeah,
we'll get to a team like when you play Union, that's hard to do with the
correct.
size that's down low.
So it's
But
a lot of question marks with Owasso. I don't have a problem with them being number one because obviously they've got a lot of talent on their roster still.
yeah,
Obviously mentioned Jalen. Jalen's still a D1, ranked, highly ranked player, so he's certainly
yeah.
going to be an impact.
Yeah,
It's just,
committed to Oklahoma State since I think the last time we did a
yep,
pod, which, no surprise there. I mean,
nope,
alma mater of his dad, he should do really well there.
yeah,
I'm interested to see how the growth of that program too, because they look pretty good already this year.
yeah. I think they'll do well. Yep,
But back to Owasso, then you get into Julius Wilson. Obviously, that's a football guy, so that's your third player. Your third best player.
yep,
Julius is such a physical athlete that with the high motor plays the right way. So not having him yet, but he'll be there. I'm sure
yep.
he'll start in January.
Oh yeah,
But they'll be all right. But what I'm interested to see is his brother Julian Wilson, the 2027, who I've heard some great things about. This preseason, obviously, I've watched him play a number of times in
yep,
the summer and everything else. But the emergence of him and then a guy like Cohen Scott, who's been productive for them for a few years. I think those guys really got to step up
yeah,
and play huge roles because you are filling basically Kobe Freeman and Jax Kirk, which are not easy shoes to fill in what
correct.
they do. But I think that Owasso is a safe bet at number one to start
Yeah,
off the preseason. I understand
yep.
why the coaches
Totally
really
agree.
said it was unanimously at 22. I mean, almost unanimously at 22 first place vote. So I get
Yeah,
that. The second team, Norman, I like that too.
I do too.
I think that the coaches to me did very well in the first 3, 4 picks, and
I
then
agree.
then to me,
You could
then
put
to
any of
me,
those in any order.
then to me,
You could put
I'm
any
a
of those
little
in any order, and I wouldn't necessarily disagree with them.
Yeah, because I love Norman.
I do too.
Obviously, they've lost some pieces, but they bring in some new
Yep.
guys and some new pieces. So it's just kind of how they all mesh together and how they play. But you're led by Bo Billingsley. You know what you're getting from him in a D1 guard. But I mean, you're just a team leader, a guy that's been through that program and kind of been carrying them and really understands, what Coach Cole demands and can play it at such a high level. But bringing over additions of Aiden Cooper Kelly gives
Yeah.
them another point guard who's, a pass first guy,
Who
but
I
such a
love.
yeah,
He's
great
fantastic.
backcourt, by the way, as far
Yeah.
as just two guards that understand the game at a high level. Love that. And then you got Case and Robinson coming over from the defending champ 6A Deer Creek and,
Yep.
and his versatility as a 3-and-D guy, but a shooter, but 6'6", can rebound, do some different things. Always electric Montrell Combs Pierce.
Sure.
They're loaded at guard, by the way, because we hadn't even got into Gideon Holt. Very well.
Yes, love him.
Gideon,
That kid is the heart and soul.
yep,
Um, he's legit. I think
yep,
coaches should pay more attention to him because I think he's for real.
uh,
He's the kind of guy that does all the things that you need. If
yep.
you bring him off the bench, he's bringing the energy. He's a leader. He just does a lot of good things. So that team is Norman is stacked.
He's going to hit some big shots for Norman
Oh
today,
yeah, yep,
because he's the guy that they may not be paying as much attention to him as they are those other
yep,
guys we mentioned, but he's perfectly capable of
oh yeah,
having a big scoring output and
yep,
especially getting hot from the perimeter
oh
or in
yeah.
that pull-up mid-range stuff that he does. So
I
love him.
I trust him, and I like to feel like the level we play in the spring and summer is every bit as high as high school is.
Oh yeah. Oh no,
So,
no question, no question. And
and
then
Coach Cole, Coach, to your point, Coach Cole is. I love what he's done there, and he's got a
yeah,
great staff too. I love
yeah.
his assistant coaches too are fantastic. That's a great program. So,
Yeah, and then they have the young gun, Braylon Robinson coming over
yep,
with his brother Case,
yep,
and I think he's going to make it. He's a freshman, great body and frame already.
yeah,
Him, and then to me, one of the top guards in the state in that 2029 class, Luke Knowles. will be a freshman for them. He's
Yeah.
going to be a big time player. He ain't going to take over for Aiden Cooper Kelly and Bo right away, but he can definitely give them some great minutes this season and then build towards the future, because he is the future over there. Him and Braylon right now, anyways, out there, because both those guys at the prospects camp, they didn't look like freshmen. They play well above their years. So both, great shooters, but different body types and different styles. I love both their games for young guys. I'm gonna be interested to see their impact on that varsity team, especially if a lot of people are saying that they're the second best team in 6A. So it'll be very interesting to see them and kind of some of the stuff that they do. I know the coaches got Broken Arrow at 3. That doesn't bother me either, because Broken Arrow continuously always has the deepest team.
Yes.
They don't, what do we call it? They don't rebuild, they retool. They seem to just always have guys ready to go. And another guy in Corbin Dow that well, expecting him to have a monster year. Gene Mason, I think he's going to really step up and take it to a few more levels higher on some of the stuff that he does. Broken Arrow's got size all over.
They got everything. They got athleticism, size. They've got experience. They got good coaching staff as well. I mean, you look at the whole thing. I see Broken Arrow. Broken Arrow is one that, I've talked to both of my guys that were on in those programs this year.
Yeah.
And from what I gather, that's the conversation is, look, we're playing to win state. That's what this looks like. So to see 2 of the top 3, those guys in the 2 of the top 3 in the preseason does not shock me at all.
Yep. No, I 100% agree. The next team that coaches have is Putnam City North. I think that they are really they're on the up. They were already really good last year.
Yep.
They lose 2 of the better players that have come through PC North in the last, few years, in Kai Brown and Anthony Leonard. Shout out to Anthony Leonard. He's got a monster game yesterday in JUCO. So he put up some big time numbers, but I expect that from him. And Kai Brown is at Cali. So I saw he got to play the other day. It's nice to see that. But lose them. But Coach DJ Lemons has a very deep, very versatile squad, and they're going to be led by the sophomore sensation, Keaton Murray, where you heard about him on the Flagrant 2. A lot of people say that, but they don't want to go out on the limb and tell you, we told you he was a Division I guard. We told you he's been working, man. And the fact that he grew, and it led, all of his hard work has led to an offer from Missouri that he picked up just in the last week or so. So
huge spring and summer for him. Huge.
Proud of Keaton and the work he puts in, and kudos to Coach Lemons, because Coach Lemons has been on Keaton and telling people, how good this kid is for a very long time. So I know he knows what he's talking about, and the development is there. I know they're working with him, but the team has there's so much more to them in what they're going to be able to do. And that gets into, the physicality that they can play with Nate Murathai at 6'6", 6'7", and his big body, high flying, whether that's TJ McNeely, who can, be a versatile point forward for them. Big body, can do some different stuff. And then you get into like Makai Thomas, the 27 guard, who just can change a pace, can get going at any moment. They got a lot of weapons at PC North. They're a team that's a good mixture of underclassmen and upperclassmen, and I'm really just interested to see how they gel together. I know they had a good showing against Booker T in a scrimmage, in a closed door scrimmage or whatever it was,
which is a good sign.
Very good sign, because Booker T is elite. So it's good to hear that. But again, I told you, scrimmages are scrimmages. But I think PC North is an absolute state team, and I believe they're going to prove that early on, and really be able to show what it is that they're working with. And like, they had guys like Miles Jackson come over from PCO. You're adding like a 6'7" wing that can shoot threes, and I mean, there's they've got a lot of
Oh,
weapons.
Miles Jackson's game. Love his game.
Yeah,
He's
yep,
he's going to
definite
be really,
weapons,
really
and
good.
will fit what they do because I would like to see that team get out and run because I believe that they've got all the pieces to do things in the open court. But I know that DJ will have them doing well in the half court, and I trust Keaton to make the right plays.
Yeah.
Keaton is not just a scorer; he's a great playmaker, and
Yep.
and, and I think that's what people will see this season. I think not enough people know about Keaton Murray, but they will very soon. And I
Yeah.
think this is the breakout year coming for that young man. And it's not something that I'm not shocked at all by it. But
No,
so
me either. Me either.
no, so they had them at 4. 5 is Union. So you got Coach Norris moving over from Edmond North to take over Union.
Yep.
Union loses a lot. So they lose your Corbin Guns and your Tristan Drivers of the world. That's hard to replace. So obviously that they have Miles Flemings, and when you have Miles, you've got a chance because
Right.
not many guys in Oklahoma can physically match up to a kid
Right.
of his size, skill set, nimble feet for a guy that looks like a NFL
Yep.
left tackle. He just moves, he flows so effortlessly with his size and great feet work. Good touch around the rim, can step out, knock down some shots, mid range, can even knock down some threes, but that's not really his game. Great in the pick and roll. Miles does so much. Now they've got some. To me, their thing is the young guys and the guards. How do they step up?
Yeah, and that's where I have a little bit of an issue. Not to say that they're not gonna, I think Union's gonna be a good team. I just
Yeah,
don't have them in my state top 8.
yeah,
I think there's a lot of competition with Owasso and Broken Arrow and just the way that everything's going to break out this year. And the
yeah,
way that the game is played now is so much more on the perimeter. And teams have gotten so good at it, whether they run and they increase the pace or,
yeah,
they have multiple shooters on the floor at any given time that can either create and then open up opportunities for guys to get completely wide open looks. When you've got a guy like Miles who's very, very good, he's the best player on his team. You want
yeah,
to get him the basketball, and rightfully so. I think the big question mark is Miles is going to get his numbers this year, and he's going to do a really good job, and he's going to play at the Division I level. The reality is when you have younger guards, you got to worry about are they gonna get in the sets? Are they gonna do the right things? Are they gonna their decision making is what you got to worry about.
yeah,
And I think not that at the end of the season they won't be a really tough team,
yeah,
but early on I think turnovers and bad decisions and not understanding pace are things that I would be concerned with Union early on.
yeah.
But again, I will say this, and I'll say this to the Union players. Prove me wrong. I'm happy to take that on, but that's typically the things you see in younger players. So
Yeah, well,
that's
I mean, when you graduate two guys that at the impact of Driver and Gun, those two guys. I mean, obviously Miles does what he do, but those two guys carried them to the state championship game last year.
because
With
everyone focused on Miles. Everybody thought, well, I got to stop Miles. I got to stop Miles, and you do. You have to.
yeah,
But when you've got those other guys that can do whatever they need to do on the perimeter, then you
yeah,
pick your poison. You're in
yeah.
trouble.
And Gun and Driver were just so dynamic. It's hard,
Yeah.
but they've got some, like you said, it's young guys. They got like a 6'5", 6'6" wing, Kamari Block Jones, 2028. Like he is a supreme athlete.
Yep.
He's going to be a kid that's going to be kind of household name in Oklahoma. Uh, as long as he continues to develop, he's got
Yep.
a lot of tools. So they've got some guys that I think could fit in. I'm interested to see how Coach Norris works with them. Coach
Yeah.
Norris has a good reputation for working with big guys and guys
True.
that play in the post. So I'm interested to see how does Miles take it to a whole nother level even this year, which will be extremely impressive if he's able
Yeah.
to. But I think Miles has to have bigger scoring nights
Right.
this season more than ever, and I
Yep.
think that he will. I mean, I think he's a 20-10 guy.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the day, so maybe better than that. We'll see. So that's Union that the coaches have at 5, 6 Mustang. We know
That's the
Brandon
team I'm
Jackson.
excited about.
Yep,
Mustang,
Brandon
I'm
Jackson
excited
moves
about.
over. The portal was good to them. You
Yes.
know, the transfer portal was really good to Mustang.
They got a
And
lot of pieces on that team, and the thing I like about that team is I think Brandon Jackson. I've been saying it for the last 2 years. I
yeah,
think he's one of the best young coaches. I think DJ is certainly in that conversation as well. But I think Brandon Jackson is if he's definitely in that
yeah,
conversation.
Brandon Jackson is a supreme X's and O's guy. He's a guy that understands the building the offense and running it to the T and intricacies
Talent
of that.
evaluation. He's fantastic at breaking players down and understanding what they do well and what they don't do well. I have a
Yep,
great deal of respect for him.
yep. But to go into their team, obviously the additions of Gabe Osborne, PCO could be top 1, 2 athlete in the entire
Yep.
state. Could
Yep.
be could be top 5, 10 athlete in America. Like he's that good of an athlete. If you haven't
Yep.
seen Gabriel Johnson, Gabriel Osborne, I'm sorry, he's already being recruited heavily by OU as a receiver, making nightly, highlight tapes on the football field. But
Yep.
basketball wise, he brings a different dynamic with what he's able to do defensively and no one is really stopping him from getting to
Yep.
where he wants to get to. If that kid just focused on basketball, he might be the best player in Oklahoma. I mean, it just with that level of athleticism
Got the
and
tools.
yeah, he's just a supreme player. Love to watch Gabe play, and he plays hard and he's tough nosed. So love him. Him coming over. Uh, Sion Wilborn, the point guard from PC North, who's just had a great summer, had a great freshman season at PC West before he came over. We talk about him a lot. We talked about him on the show. Heady guard that can get hot from the perimeter. Guys, the ball on the string. I'm interested to see how he continues to develop in his sophomore season,
Yep.
and really, the maturation process of him as a point guard, leading a team that has a lot more expectations upon them than maybe what he was last year. But I think he can handle it. I think it's just all about the growth and how he emerges, because this team is going to be picked by a lot of people to be,
Yep.
a top 2, 3 team, maybe
Yep.
by a lot of teams. So especially once they get gelling and getting together, and then that gets into like another new guy. And this kid I love, Drew Reynolds,
Yep.
comes over from UConn. I know you like Drew's game as well.
Yep.
6'2", 6'3", guard that really can fill it up from anywhere, but just a tough, high IQ basketball player that makes winning
Yep.
plays. I look at him as having such a huge impact for them
I
in
do
his first
too.
season. And we talked about it even on some of the
Yep.
other pods, about him already moving over
One of
there.
the things I would say too, I would jump in real quick on this, Chris, is I think when you talk about the maturation process of Zion, uh, my big thing for him is he's a stud player. He's got all the tools. My thing for him is that when you've got all the tools around you that I know Mustang has, and a coach like Brandon, and I
Mm-hmm.
know Brandon's going to get him to understand his role in terms of the point guard role isn't about going out every night and trying to get 20 every night. The point guard role is trying to get each of your guys 20, right?
Yeah.
And getting in
Yeah.
the paint and doing those sorts of things, and then locking down on defense. And then when you do get open shots, you take them, you make them, you're efficient. That's the point guard role. A lot of kids don't understand that. And I'm really excited to kind of see how Zion takes that role on. And I know Brandon's going to be pushing him to understand that role. I think it's critical that a kid that's talented like he is understands that, hey, look, at the next level, if you want to get to Division I level as a point guard, and with his size, I think that he really needs to hone in and focus on that now, because if he doesn't, he tries to be the combo guard. Combo guards are two guards, as they're really called.
Yeah.
Those guys are 6'4", 6'5" at the Division I level. He's not going to be 6'4", 6'5". So
Yeah.
understanding his size and his limitations, how he plays that position and gets his guys prepared and gets his guys shots and does the
Yeah.
things that plays that helps winning, not individual stats, but winning, is going to be really interesting this year. If he does that, I'll say right now, if Zion takes that point guard role seriously and he does what I just described,
Yeah.
they will win state. They will. He's that dynamic that he can make shots easy for his teammates. If he does that and he has the capability to do that, I think they win state this year.
Yep, and they're another team with a mix of it's mainly younger guys, but they've got some guys like I said with Drew and then obviously Jaden Johnson, the Johnson twins.
Yep.
I look for Jaden to have a huge season when he comes from football as well. Him and
Yeah, me
Gabe.
too.
I think that Jaden and JT provide a lot of experience because they've played since they've been playing on varsity since they were young at Mustang, even through the lumps and bumps of Mustang took over the last few years of not being as successful as they were
Yep.
prior to that when they, had a lot of legit guys come through there. But I think I'm looking for Jaden Johnson to have a monster season for Mustang. But then, another guy and Markel Robinson comes over,
Yep.
another downhill athletic guard who not many people can stop physically, has a college ready body right now and gets to the rim whenever he wants. I
Love
think
it.
he brings some versatility to them. I'd like to see him lock in defensively because
Yeah.
I think he has the ability to shut people down if he's able to tap into that. And also if he's able to buy into that defensive part of this, his stock elevates as far as a recruit in that
Yep.
2057 class. So like to see him do that. But one of my favorite players in Oklahoma, Garrett Smith, their big man who I don't know if he's the best dunker in Oklahoma because we got some guys. He
Yep.
might be the best big man dunker.
Yeah.
I might
Can't
be able
argue
to
that.
say the best
Can't
big
argue
man
that.
dunker.
Yeah.
Right now, that's what I'm thinking that it is. Somebody else might come to me. He might be the best big man dunker because when we get into guards that can dunk, Rodney Washington and Jock Mitchell, and I got guys that put on shows for people. So there's some dudes out there putting on
True.
shows. So can't say the best dunker, but definitely maybe the best big man. But
Yeah.
I love what Garrett does. I love his approach. I love his growth in such a short period of time. We've spoken
Me
many
too.
times on this program about him not even playing basketball very long. He's a sophomore. He's played since 8th grade. I mean, if you see that, you're not. I mean, he just went with Mocan this upcoming summer. There's a reason why Mocan wants him.
Yes.
He's got a lot of skill, a lot of upside. With Garrett, I would love to see him tap more into playing a little bit of perimeter and developing some off the dribble and because he's got a nice catch and shoot three, but I would like to see him be able to defend and play on the perimeter because I think that elevates his stock immensely if he's able to do that with the physical tools that he has and the athleticism that he brings and things like that. But for Mustang, he's got to play that dunker
Correct.
big man position because
That's what
ultimately
his team needs to help him win. I think you're right. I think when it comes to spring and summer, I think that he can step out into some of those other roles and try to expand his role and get better. But yeah, no, I anticipate him being that dunker position like you talked about with Mustang to help them win. That's what they need from him.
I absolutely. And then coaches have at number 7, Choctaw. I like Choctaw.
Me too.
I've been high on Choctaw for a few years. I mean, obviously last year they had the injury to Jaden Hopkins, who I'm glad to see that that is why that young man is an elite athlete, by the way. He's out there not that long after having his knee torn up, and I seen him doing windmill dunks already, and I'm like, I'd be done after that. You wouldn't see a dunk after me for the rest of my life.
I saw that yesterday. I was happy to see that on social media.
He's at Terra Verde. He's reclassed. I'm happy. I can't wait to see that young man because he is one of the state's most dynamic and one of the top players. And now that 27 class gets a little deeper. And it'll be interesting to see. But Choctaw loses him. They obviously graduate some guys that played significant roles for them. So they lose some big guys. But I'm interested to see how do Steven Anderson and Jordan Valentine in their senior years, how far can they take Choctaw? Because Choctaw's missed state the last few years when we thought they were locks. And I'm interested to see, is this the year they get over the hump? They're going to have some younger guys step up. They have another senior in Bryce Thompson. I like him. I like some of the stuff that he brings. They got a young guy, and I'm pretty sure he's playing this year, Titus Hawk, who's a football superstar for the tight end. He's like 6'7", a great athlete. I'm interested to see his development on the court and what he brings because I know he's a dog and he can do some stuff. A super athlete. I'm interested to see what he brings for Coach Jermaine Simpson's team. But I want to see, you know, I want to see Jordan and Steven take this team to the state playoffs. I really want. They have to put it on their back, basically, in
Yeah.
my opinion. They just have to. I think.
Yeah, I
I
totally
think.
agree with that. They're losing some nice pieces that they had last year, and I think I figured last year they were a shoe in. I thought there's no way they don't get in. Obviously, that didn't happen, which really shocked me. Of all the
Yeah.
teams that I
Yeah.
thought were going to make the state playoff last year, they would have been in my top four.
Yeah.
Didn't make it, so I was wrong there with that. But I think anybody looked at that roster last year. If you didn't have them going to state, you didn't know what you're talking about. So,
Yeah.
but it didn't happen this year. I think it's going to be there. I hope that those players, that you mentioned, Jordan and the guys, they have that chip on their shoulder that they're going to have to. It'll be interesting to see the new guys coming in. I say the new guys, the younger guys that were previously, off the bench or what have you, coming in this year and making an impact. That's the question mark I have. Is I think the coaching is not an issue there. I think it'll be a situation where those new guys coming in, how will they impact the game, and will they fill in roles that coach needs them to fill in order to win games? So that's going to be the big question mark. I think Choctaw's always had good talent. It's just a matter of, okay, how does it come together? So that's the question I have this year.
Absolutely. And then I think, number 8, they got coaches voted Southmore, which we even already talked about Southmore a couple months back, or
Yeah.
one of the last spots. Is I already told you what I think Tyson Bogai is going to do. Probably average 40 points a game. I think he's going to be. I think he might beat a lot of records that were set for maybe individual seasons on some of his scoring. But a lot of people wrote them off because obviously they lost a bunch of guys. Can't beat around the bush. They lost
Which,
a
by
number.
the way, I want to say this too. Why you say that, and that you're spot on.
Yeah.
Just for those out there, I had nothing to do with any of those guys leaving. I know everybody. There was all these rumors out there where people didn't know what they were talking about. I found out just like everybody else did via social media, and then I went to practice after I found it out and said, "Hey guys, what's up? What's going on? I'm seeing all this," and they're like, "Yeah, coach, this is what's going on." I had nothing to do with that.
Oh, so you're not on the Newcastle payroll, is what you're
No,
saying?
no,
No.
and ironically, coaches involved in that situation thought that I was involved in it when I wasn't. So I wish, though, in hindsight, being 2020, I wish coaches would have
People don't
contacted.
know, man. Hey,
But
parents and players are going to do what they want to do.
correct, and it had nothing to do with
I
any.
don't give a damn what anybody says. You can give all your advice, opinions. People are going to do what they deem best for their children. That's up to who you and God on what that is. And like I said, we as parents, OSSAA basketball, we made it okay to transfer openly. Then we can't complain about it because those are the rules. I mean, if you don't like it, it's just like you don't like the transfer portal in college. But guess what? It's the name of the game. I mean, it's why Oklahoma and OSU are going to be really good this year. It's not because of the young guys that they brought in from high school.
Right.
It's the recruit. It's that transfer portal that they went out and got. If you do a good job and bring people in that are great players, your team is usually going to be better from it. It's just is what it is. Now,
it's just reality.
Is the grass always greener? We've already talked about this on other one. Not always, but that's not up for anybody else to determine. So I never get caught up into that too much. But with Southmore, I do think that they're going to be better than what people think because they did add some last minute guys in Trey Summers from Norman North. Merritt Gregory from Norman North came over there. 2 guys. And I'll say this. I think that Trey Summers and Tyson are another very good backcourt.
Oh, yeah.
Trey Summers was really coming onto his own this spring, summer with the I-4 program. He really played well, and I think he's taken his game to the next level. Merritt Gregory is a 6'4" guy that's very athletic. He brings some defense. He does some stuff versatility-wise, but they also still have Jasper Chavis. And I believe he's one of the top athletes in the state as far as wing defenders, guys that can pogo stick jump.
he's got great touch from the perimeter too. He
Yep,
can
yep.
shoot the basketball. So
They got a couple football guys that will come over and bring some size and toughness. Southmore is going to upset a lot of teams. Now, are they going to win the whole thing? It's hard to. I can't say that to you right now. I wouldn't pick them to win the championship today, but I do think that they're going to beat some of your favorite teams on anybody's favorites on any given night. I do believe they're going to be dynamic enough from the scoring position of Tyson putting up a Trey Young esque. Remember the last time I said that I got
you
ripped,
just hit the nail on the head for me.
but
He's just
it's a,
like Trey in a lot of ways in terms of his
yeah,
dynamic play.
yeah.
The question I have is how many did Trey make state his senior year?
The state,
No.
yeah, but I mean, there's so much that goes into
I understand that, but I'm just saying when I look at that team looks a lot like Trey's team that he had, similar.
they
And
were in a state they were in a state. I don't think they were in a championship game, but they made it to. I
did
thought
they
they made
make?
it.
I don't think that his senior year they even made it to state.
I got so much thinking on right now on these teams I'm focused on right now. But I'll tell you this: the comparisons and when I gave that out, which was like 9 months ago,
Yeah,
and I remember I told you I think Tyson is going to put on Trey-esque
yep,
numbers and have a Trey-esque season.
totally
We're
agree.
talking about individual stats and things
Yes.
of that nature. Do I think he absolutely can do it because he scores effortlessly from anywhere on the court. And I think the volume will be there. The ball will be in his hands. He
Oh
will
yeah,
be controlling
he'll
everything.
get 25 shots a game, Chris.
Yeah.
He'll
But
get
with
25 shots a game.
but with him, he might make 20. That's where that's kind of not on every night, but on a
No,
given
I
night,
mean
he might
just like
shoot it.
Trey was. I mean, I feel like he's the reincarnation of Trey Young. I don't think there's any doubt that he's talented. Mike,
Trey had a lot of talent around him though at Norman North. Like
yes, he did.
they may have not
Yes, he
won a
did.
state championship, but he had Division I guys all around him.
No,
And I mean,
absolutely,
guys
100%
that made the
agree.
NBA.
What I'm trying to say is that the correlation I'm making is that Trey, when he was a senior, did not make the state tournament, and my concern for Southmore is if Tyson's getting 25 shots a game, he's going to be scoring a lot of points. But what happens when you have guys that take 25 shots a game? Sometimes the other guys aren't as involved, and it becomes less interesting for the other players. And my thing is the challenge that Southmore has this year is how do they get the other guys involved
Yeah,
enough to keep them interested?
yeah,
That's the question. Because here's the thing, and all these guys, all these teams we've talked about prior to this, they all have guys, many guys that they're going to play as team members. They've had a team, and I'm not
yeah,
saying Southmore doesn't have a team. I just worry that if you have a guy that has a propensity. Last year, I think he averaged 18 shots a game, maybe.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
he's going to average 25 this year. I'm just going
yeah,
to tell you, he'll average 25 shots this year. And yes, can he make 20? 100% because he's that talented. But
yeah,
what does that do in terms of winning? And will it help Southmore win games to get them propelled to play in the state playoff? Not saying they can't because they have
yeah,
all the talent. You just named a lot of the names. Trey Summers, I love Trey Summers. I think
yeah,
Trey Summers' development from last year to this year and
yeah,
his ability.
yeah,
If you didn't have Pogai on the team, he'd
yeah,
be a stud. He'd be a stud player, right?
yeah,
And then you've got these other guys too.
yeah,
So I think they definitely have the pieces to. Don't get me wrong. I just worry how you get them involved. And I think I go back to this. If you watch how the Thunder play, okay, SGA is the
yeah,
best player on the team, right? Everybody knows he's the best player in the league. Okay, you can dispute that, but top two, three at the worst. Early in every game, the Thunder play. What does SGA do? The other guys bring it up. He gets them involved early. What
yeah,
happens? They get involved. They start playing. Then guys get hot. Guys get whatever. You find out who's playing well, and then what happens is the second half. What happens? SGA goes to work, gets his money, and they win games by 20, and they're undefeated
absolutely,
right now. So I
yeah.
think that's the key for that team. I think they're definitely talented. That's the only concern I have with my feedback on that is is you
Well,
can't let a guy shoot too much to a point where other guys don't get involved and aren't.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a learning process for those guys because
Yeah,
all of those other guys are stepping up into a
correct.
role that they have not been into
Good
before.
point.
But Tyson, I mean, to me has. But like looking at Trey's junior numbers, he averaged 34 points a
Yeah,
game.
it's
Like
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Tyson absolutely could average 34 points a
Oh,
game.
easy,
And
easy.
and and and,
Expect him to, honestly. I would
and
expect.
that year, his Trey's junior year, they did make it to the state.
Correct.
They lost by 1 point. They
Correct.
lost by 1 point to PC West that year.
Yep.
But his senior year, he averaged like 42 points a game.
Correct.
Do I think that Tyson could average that? Yeah, he
Yes,
might
I
average
do.
that his junior year. I mean, I would say probably aim for the upper 30s, but
Yep.
by next year, he could average in the upper 40s if he stays in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
Doesn't go to
he could be 45. Yeah,
He could. So, I mean,
he's
I
super
absolutely
talented.
think that, but I agree with some of the stuff that you're saying. I think it's more so comparison on the individual player because it's apples to oranges as far as the teams.
Oh, sure.
Because that Norman North
Different
teams were
guys.
loaded. That Norman North teams were loaded. They had size.
Yeah.
That's going to be some of the stuff that kind of
Especially
changed.
his junior season. His junior
Yes.
season, they were a lot better than they were his senior
Yep.
year.
Yep. And then back to the poll. Coaches voted number 9, Edmund North. You know, to me, another team that has lost some guys that went on to the next level. Lost some of their big guys and Jake Weaver. Zayden Best is out there firing away at Iowa Western at 30 points last night. Big ups to Zayden. But I do like what they have. I love their point guard in Chauncey Cravens, who's the
Yes.
quarterback on the football team. So, and it looks like they make the playoffs, so he'll be there soon. I love him, but Edmund North goes as far as sophomore Jarrell Copeland will take them, and it's again another player of maturation and stepping into a I'm the man role.
Yeah.
And if he embraces that, because he's got the game, the
Yep.
size, the skill, if he embraces that and can bring it on both sides of the ball, they could be a team that surprises some.
Yep.
But I don't necessarily think it's a surprise because they've got some guys, some other guys like Spencer LeBray. They got some guys that are going to step up and play a role for them and have to do some things that they've, again, like Southmore, not been called on to do up until
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah,
So
I think you're absolutely right on that. I think Evan North. I think it's going to be a development year for a lot of the guys. I
yeah,
think by the end of the year, they're a team you don't want to play in regionals, right?
yep,
But I don't know that I have them making state this year. But I think that they're going to. I think that program is used to winning, so I don't see any reason why they won't be competitive. It's just going to be. I think they're just a little young, in my opinion, at this point.
yeah,
But again, they're a team that if certain things go right, like you say,
yeah.
guys step up. Could they get that final spot in state? Yeah, absolutely. I think they're certainly capable of.
And obviously their new head coach, Corbin Byford,
Yeah,
been at Edmond North through all of the success and
yeah,
championships under Coach Norris. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of he brings and that element and what he instills into these younger guys
yeah.
because they've got a pretty young team.
Yep, they do.
But like I said, they got a very good point guard. They've got a very up and coming sophomore wing that's got the great. Like I really think if Jarrell Copeland could be a big time player, he's got to take this team
Yeah,
over as this is my team and I'm going to show you guys what I'm made of because
yep,
I think a lot of people are waiting to see it from him and I think he's absolutely capable of doing it.
yep. I
Uh,
agree.
Number 10, Edmond Santa Fe, and
This
I'm
is
going
the
to
one
say
I
this.
like. This
I'm
is the
going to say,
big one.
well, here you go, because that's what I'm going to say. They're a team that when I give you my ranking is going to be in a different place because
Yep.
I think that this is a team with a lot of depth,
Yes.
a lot of depth, a lot of athleticism, a lot of shooting, a lot of defense, multiple guys at every position. I think that they're bringing one of the most experienced, if not the most experienced head coach as far as what
No
Coach
doubt.
Terry Evans has done over spanning 3 decades. I mean, he's
Yep.
been doing this, you know, through the college game, but look at when he's coached high school, his teams win.
Yep.
They
And
now
college. Look at college. What he did at UCO. UCO was at their pinnacle when he was there.
also won their only ever conference championship under Coach
Yeah.
Evans as well.
Yeah. Coach Evans is in my opinion one of the very best coaches in Oklahoma. Period, regardless of level.
No. He Coach Evans is like a basketball royalty in the state of Oklahoma,
Yep.
just due to his playing career at Millwood and winning 4 championships, playing for OU, and then his long journey at Midwest City, his long tenure there. With my opinion, this is me.
I know
The
what you're
best
getting
high
ready to
school
say.
team
I know exactly what you're getting ready to say.
It's the best high school team I saw because I didn't see the Booker T teams from the 90s in person.
Yeah,
I've seen
I
film.
totally agree with
I'm all aware of Eton Thomas and all what they had. I know it. I know the history. I love the game. I'm saying what I saw with my own eyes. I think it's the best basketball team in Oklahoma that I've seen in the last 25 years.
I agree.
Just being honest.
I agree.
Sheldon Williams, for people that don't know, was one of the best, if not the best, big man in the country at the time.
Went to Duke afterwards.
Duke,
Yeah, he
in
was
the NBA. But D'Angelo Alexander, just so many pieces that team had.
Yep.
They were special breed. And then he did it again at Edmond North.
Yep.
17 years later. I mean, he took a team. Trey Evans, his son, who's assistant coach this year for them, could flat out hoop. Marvin Johnson. There's so many guys that they had. Carlos Coppage, assistant at Redlands, was on the squad. So many guys. That Edmond North team was loaded.
Yep.
Loaded. They were really fun to watch.
I would say this too, because I watched them play specifically this weekend, and I watched style of play, kind of how coach has them set up.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of guys that they don't have real big guys, but they got really good athletic guys that can move, that are versatile. I think the only question mark I have with that team is how well do they play if you slow the game down. And I think some of the teams that I watched them play, I don't know. I have question marks about some of the teams they were playing, and so that's a question mark I have. They love to play fast, and if you play fast, you're in trouble. They are going to beat you, and not beat you, by 10. They're going to beat you by 25 or more.
Yeah, they're a team to me on paper right now that just they look the part. Yes, they don't have a true big guy, but again, like you just said,
they don't need you really with their style of play.
Their style of play, it wouldn't work really. I mean, unless the big guy was a one of a kind guy that can run the floor and
rim
keep
runner.
Up with them, and those kind of guys are rare, especially in Oklahoma in general. But I would like to see that though. That would be fun if they did have somebody like that. So, but anyways, they have a lot of upperclassmen that are very good, and then they're going to bring in some freshmen that will play for them. So, one of my favorite guys to watch, Money Robinson, their point guard. He's explosive. He's Money Robinson is like a player that's worth the price of admission to go watch because he just hoops and he plays basketball in a fun way. It's
100 miles an hour. He goes 100 miles an hour the whole time. The whole time.
Yep. And that bloodline runs.
They play with a tremendous amount of pace.
Yeah. If you ever saw his brother play, he's a running back at Arizona State, you'll know where that athleticism comes from. And shout out to Dom Robinson. That man got some good genetics.
A lot of fun to watch. I think the players really like the coaching staff too. I think they're really identified. I think obviously Coach Evans, he, like you say, top-notch coach.
Yeah.
I see them being a top 5 or 6 team easy this year.
Yeah. Oh,
maybe higher than that.
The thing that I like about them the most is, in my opinion, they might have the most wings, that can just come at you in waves defensively and get into passing lanes and that's what you said is the way that they have to play has got to be up and down. It's got to be the full court. But guys like Jojo Baba and I expect him to have a monster senior season.
Yes.
At 6'6", he might be their biggest guy as far as guys that are play.
He is.
But you want to talk about one of the most athletic kids in Oklahoma who
Yeah.
can shoot it, put the ball on the ground. I
Mhm.
think JoJo Baba is a major sleeper as far as
Yes.
recruitment in that
Yeah, I
2026
agree.
class. I think he should hold many more offers. He's going to be the kind of guy that you may have thought he looked a little raw, but he's starting to come into his own. But as a college coach, like I can work with that,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah.
Especially if I could get him in JUCO, I could turn that kid
Oh,
into something.
100%.
I really think he's got a
You get
chance.
him
But
in 2 years into the weight room and get him, playing college
yep,
basketball.
yep,
That's a Division I caliber kid.
yep. And then you get into Dwayne McKinney, who's a 2027, another 6'4",
Love him.
6'5" wing that plays above the rim
Yep.
athletically. There's not many like him. So it's just those wings and those lanes are going to be filled with
Yes.
these guys, these horses just running full speed, getting up above the rim. You just got to get out there. It's their game is going to be predicated on turning the ball over.
Correct.
If they get turnovers,
You're in
you're done.
trouble.
You're done. A la the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like if you turn the ball over, you're
Yeah.
toast because
Yep.
they can get up and run and they got waves and it's just so much. Joshua Baba, the younger brother of JoJo, to me, he's one of the better prospects in that 2028 class that doesn't get talked about enough. He's
Yeah.
6'4"-ish. He to me is further along than his brother was at this point. We'll see how high his ceiling ends up being, but I think he's got a great career ahead of him and some of the stuff he does. Then they play, they're going to play some freshmen. They got a guy,
Yep.
Jace LeGrand, Eli Morganson. They got like a couple of 3,
Yep.
4 freshmen that might play a significant role for them, but they just got so much depth.
Yes.
I think that's what, as long as they put it all together,
Yes.
and they got to have some resemblance of a half court game. They got to, because you're going to have to do it at some
Right.
point,
Right.
especially the later you go in the season.
Right.
That. But in the regular season, I can see them blowing some doors off people.
Oh yeah, they absolutely will. They'll overwhelm people. I think, like you say, I could see them being a Final Four team. I think when they get to that Final Four spot, if they get there, that's when, if they run into issues, I could see where there could be some weaknesses in what they do or how they do it. But that team's loaded with talent and depth, and it's just. Yeah.
And what we'll do is we'll give our top 10 and then we'll do like let's do a part 2 where we break down 5A.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we got so much more to talk about in 5A, breaking down every team. So we could give our top 10 picks in 6A and then we'll do a part 2 in this and we'll film it, you and I.
I agree with that because we're about an hour in here and we just now getting through our top 10 and 6.
Yep. And I was just thinking about that. I got a lot more to talk about when we get into 5A.
And I don't want to shortchange any of the guys in any of the classes, so I certainly want to give them their kudos. So who would you say would be, maybe a team, a sleeper to kind of outside of that top 10 that they have ranked preseason would sneak?
I like, well, right off the bat, I like Jinx.
Yeah.
I think that, and they're at number 11. I like them. I like, I think that you're going to get Aiden Bazana, who I've been talking about him for months now. That was our prospects camp, the 6'8", 2028. I think he's one of the best prospects in Oklahoma overall. I think he's coming into his own.
Yeah.
He can shoot the 3. He can handle the ball. He can play above the rim. He blocks shots. He's the real deal. His thing is like a lot of young cats, just filling out his body. As his body gets stronger, then he goes. But then I really think Evan Goodwin is going to put up monster numbers for them in the guard position. I mean, I think he's one of the best shooters in Oklahoma in general, but I kind of like that 1-2 punch that they have there. And I think that they're a team that, to me, is like when we talk about true dark horse sleeper, absolutely a team that could creep off into the state tournament, in my opinion. So that would be my sleeper team. There's a couple other teams I mean, obviously, Edmond Memorial, you can never count them out. They had a lot of turnover. I love Jack Sheriff and some of the stuff that they do.
Yeah, Jack's a fantastic kid and a really good player. I really like him. I'd be remiss in not. Yeah, I'm so glad you brought him up because I think he's going to have a really big season or good season.
I know Coach Cowher doesn't usually play freshmen, but they got one in Deacon Holly that he better play. I mean, he better play. I
Yeah.
mean, he's a stud on the football field, but I mean, we're talking about this is one of the most athletic kids in Oklahoma as a 14-year-old or whatever he is. So it's like Deacon Holly better play. I'll say it
I
again.
agree. You just never
If he
know.
doesn't, then
Never know with at the Memorial as to what are they going to play him, or they is it
well,
he's
they
a
don't have
foot.
a track record of playing many freshmen, but I understand. I mean, everybody has their own system, and I'm
Yep.
just messing. But he better play. But I'm just messing with coach. But no, he really better. But it's kind of like they're a team that because they have so much success under that coach and they slow it down and they make you play their style. I can never count them out of saying like I'm not
Yeah.
going to say that they can't go in there and make it to state.
No, no, no.
It
I
lost a lot of
agree with
guys.
you. I agree
Losing
with you.
Hudson Franz and DJ Padula, that doesn't make it. That's tough.
Correct.
Because I would have had them as a top 5 team. I would have had them as a top 5 team if they returned all those senior guards that have a ton
Oh
of
yeah.
playing. If you have them two alongside a Sheriff, like that's 2026s that I think can. And the thing about especially DJ and Jack is their defensive stuff that they do. They're gritty, and then Hudson. I mean, he's going Division One. He's one of the best guards in Oklahoma in that class. His scoring ability and the pace that he plays, I just think that they would have been a well-rounded team.
Yeah.
Sucks, but again, that's the portal. I told you that's stuff
Yeah, no,
happens.
I mean, I have to. I completely agree with you. I think if they'd have kept the squad that they had from a 2026 perspective, they would have definitely been in that top 8. I think that they certainly would have had opportunities to go to state this year. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and so they're that's scattered to the wind. So it'll be
Yeah,
interesting to see. But again, like you say, Evan Memorial always seems to find a
yeah,
way to find the next kid or two, and
yeah.
so
More will be kind of an interesting one. They lost a lot of guys.
yeah.
Obviously, Roman Miller. Shout out to Roman Miller, 24 points last night off the bench for Cali. But there's people we
Callie's
know.
loaded. Callie's loaded.
And we know what Roman is. He'll go JUCO, but he'll end up at the Division One level anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we could just give our top 10. Mine is the first 3 picks or so are very similar.
Yep.
I've got Owasso at 1. I say, just like I said to Deer Creek, they knocked them off last year. If Owasso got out of that game, I think Owasso would have won a championship. So
Yep.
I'm sticking with Owasso for right now
Yep.
because I think Bowden, Williams, and Julius, I already know what Jalen's going to do.
Yeah.
Jalen's going to be Jalen. Jalen's going to carry and hit some huge shots, and he's going to be the offensive focal point. But I think Bowden and Julius are going to step up in such a big manner. And
Yeah, I do too.
because both those guys can defend anybody on the perimeter, I really like to see. I'd like to see, with them is Bowden going to play the point guard because I project Bowden as a 2 guard in college. So
yeah, he's
I'm
every
interested
bit
to
of
see that.
6'3", maybe close to 6'4", but he's between 6'3", 6'4". That's one thing I did this weekend. I kind of sized up players to see
Yeah.
how tall are they really,
Yeah,
because I know exactly how tall I am, and I
yeah,
kind of gauge it off of that. He's
yeah.
legitimately between 6'3" and 6'4".
No, yeah, and he's got the frame too.
Yeah.
He's a strong kid.
Correct.
I think I project him as a 2 at Oral Roberts, but we'll see. I mean,
Yeah, I think you're right.
I'm just who I am.
Yep.
But I like him. But so I would think that maybe means like Cohen Scott plays some. They probably really Julius could play point guard. He
Right.
kind of did a little bit of that Holland Tall 2 years ago. So it'll be interesting to see. They got to do it by by committee. But I'm sure Bowden will probably be the quote unquote. Basketball is almost positionless at some point too nowadays. I mean, there's so many,
especially in high school. In high school, good athletes can do whatever they want to do. It's not like college when you have 6'10" and above is the 5, and the 4 you've got a 6'8" to 6'10" guy.
Yeah.
Where roles are a little more defined and coaches have systems that they play guys in. In high school, it's just, hey, the best player is going to play wherever the coach needs them to win.
Yep. So I got Owasso at 1. I've got Norman at 2. I think that I love On the West Side, there's a couple teams I really like. I think that they're, to me, right now at the top, but I'll get into. There's some other teams I think could fight for that. I mean,
I agree.
to me, with Norman it's the backcourt to me is solidified
Yes.
because we've already talked about it. Cooper Kelly and Bo Billingsley. But I want to see, and I think, like I said, Casey Robinson will do whatever it takes for a team to win. He's got experience of winning a championship. I'm interested to see some of those other pieces and how they step up. But
Yep.
I know this: you've got two guards in the backcourt that can run the team by themselves. So you can play always while playing together, but stagger them, and you're going to be in a good place. And I'm interested to see what Cooper Kelly brings because I think that he's a maestro of orchestrating the offense, but I think he can score the ball. And I think
Yep.
that he probably will have to on many nights too. So I'm interested to see how him and Bo play together and where that takes them. I've got them at number 2, which is what the coaches have. The coaches, I believe, have Broken Arrow at 3.
Yes.
This is where my starts to change up. I've got PC North at 3. So I've got them a lot higher than where they were ranked. I think that, matter of fact, they might have been ranked 4. I mean, I just had the coaches pull up. Yeah, they had them at 4. So I just got them
at 4. So you're just
they had them at 4.
switching them up from 4 to 3.
I've got them one higher. I've got them there. I've got Broken Arrow at 4. I've got Edmond Santa Fe at 5. So I've got them from 10 to 5.
Yep.
And Mustang is my number 6.
Yep.
But I wouldn't be, if Mustang was in your top 3 or 4, I could understand it. But why I won't put Mustang up there this high is I think they've got so many new parts.
Yes.
Their almost entire team is new.
Yes.
So that has to gel, and that might not gel right away. So if you and I are picking who the best teams are right this second,
yes,
then I can't pick them. Now, if you ask me who do I think at the end of the season, that might be a different story. And you and I will do a preseason preview where we pick title winners or something like that. We'll do that like we do every year. We'll just do every class on that. The thing about we're doing now, which is good, is that we've already broken it down, so we can just do our picks at that point and not have to worry about that. So I've got Mustang at 6. I've got Choctaw at 7. I've got Union at 8.
Yeah.
I've got Southmore at 9, and I've got Jinx at 10.
I think that's fair.
Yep. And like I said, I like more. I like some of these teams. I like Edmond North, but I've got to see because they lost so much. It's hard for me to say right now that those teams. See, I feel confident putting Southmore at number 9 right now because I genuinely think that they can beat a lot of teams right off the rip just because I believe that the offense.
Well, when they've got a talented player like they do, there's so much upside to that.
Yep. So I like them. And like I said, more what they got, and I'm drawing a blank, the kid that came over from Southmore, that's the guard for them, 2027.
Yeah, okay.
I'm drawing a blank right now.
I am too. I know who you're talking about.
Real athletic guard.
Yeah, didn't get a whole lot. I mean, he got playing time last year, but just not obviously with Colton and Tyson. You said Southmore, right? Yeah. Those guys took the majority of the minutes at that position.
I'm drawing a blank right now, but what's it called? So that's my top 10. What you want to give yours before we head out?
Top 10. I'll keep Owasso there. I think obviously you can't argue with coaches at 22. I think that certainly makes sense. I agree with you. I think Bowden and I think Bowden's going to have a really, really big year. I think they just reload. I think there's a couple things that they're going to have to address. Obviously, with the big man being gone, they're going to have to but I think they'll adapt to that. I think it'll actually make the game a little more free flowing for them, and they could actually play a little bit better in some ways as a group. So, and I would say Norman number 2. I agree with that. I'm going to keep Broken Arrow at 3.
Okay.
I like Putnam City North at 3 or 4. Those two are interchangeable to me because I think on the east side, I think Broken Arrow on the East side will. I think you got really tough teams at the top, but I think some of these teams, like we're talking about on the East side, will have maybe a little bit easier run
Yeah.
um, at getting to state. So I think Broken Arrow, and I think Broken Arrows generally does better when it comes to tournament time. So
Yes.
I'll keep them at number 3 for now. But Putnam City North, I think, is certainly that's a team. I think they're going to come out really hot. It's all going to depend on style of play, but I like them. Those are two interchangeable,
Yeah.
3 and 4, and then at 5, I'm going to flip Union and Mustang. I'm going to go with Mustang at 5. I
Okay.
agree with you. I think early on, I think it's going to take a little for them to adjust, but
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and call the shot early and say Union might be a little bit better early because they've got some pieces that are more stable. I think
Yeah.
and have played together. But I'm going to go ahead upside wise and say Mustang by the end of the year will be just a smidge better than Union. But I think they're both really good. So Mustang 5, Union 6. I'll keep Choctaw at 7.
Okay.
I will have I'll have Edmonds. Wait, you know what? I'm going to take that back. I'm going to put Edmond Santa Fe at 7,
Okay.
and I'll move Choctaw to 8. I'll put Jinx at 9, and I'll put Southmore at 10.
Okay.
I think they're all close to what you're saying.
Yeah.
I could go with Santa Fe up to 5 too, because I think what I saw from them,
Which is where I had to think. Yeah.
they're good. I will say this: I fully expect Santa Fe to make the state tournament. I fully expect that. If
Oh
that
yeah.
does anything,
Yeah. Well, and Edmond School is always getting in, so you got to say this is the year you favor Santa Fe over the last few years. They
and
haven't.
Santa Fe could prove me wrong. It could be in the top 4.
Yeah. I
I,
mean,
I really like them, but
and the reason why I can't take Union out of there is because I think Miles, I mean, might be the most unstoppable player at what he's able to do.
yeah, I mean,
I mean, he's points
guys are
every
going
night.
to foul out trying to contain him on the block. I mean, it's just that's a man playing with a bunch of boys.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough. That's a team like I'm very intrigued to see them
Yeah,
because the guards are to me the unknown so much. Like
yeah.
I said earlier, I just want to see what they bring at the guard position because if they get any guards that really step up, they're gonna be really good. They're a top
They're going to
5
be
team.
they'll be a top could be a top 3 or 4 team if the guards play really
I
really
mean,
well.
they just played in a state championship where not many people would have picked them. I didn't pick them last year. I thought they'd be really good, but I didn't pick them to be in a
And
state
some things
championship.
go differently. They could have won that game.
That was a state championship that no one really picked. I
Correct.
mean,
No,
I
well, come
mean,
on. I mean, who's going to not pick Owasso? Come on, who?
yeah, yeah.
It was honestly, it was.
It's more open. It's more open this year
Oh
though
yeah.
than it was the last
Well,
two.
you called it years ago. You thought, okay, Owasso could win 3. We thought everybody thought they'd win 2, and then this year would be one of those years where it could go.
To, to even elaborate that farther, I said Owasso and Deer Creek would run 6A, and they are the last state champions that we have.
Correct.
Now, Deer Creek for different reasons. It's like Southmore. You lose your entire team. It's but different is they were state champions, so it's kind of a different thing. But I mean that's also some kudos. Some of these teams, even Southmore, like to be in the top 10 after they've lost a lot of guys, shows how much respect we have for certain players and what they do.
Oh yeah, come on.
But I also think that I'll tell you this: without the addition of Summers and Gregory, I wouldn't have had them in the top 10. I just think that those guys are great at what they do, and I think that Trey will gives Tyson a option B on scoring, and I think that what he had with Brammer last year, it's who's going to be that Joey ball, who's going to be that Joey for them, and then obviously losing someone like the size. That's tough to replace in Oklahoma. We still
They're
have
definitely going to. I mean, that's another team. Southmore could end up being in the top 5 or 6 by the all said and done. But I just feel like I'm going to wait. I'm going to withhold judgment until I see them play 6, 7, 8 games, and then that's something we can review mid-season and kind of say, hey, was I wrong? Okay, I was wrong. But I feel like that's going to be a big question mark around that team is how do they gel with the new pieces because last year did not go well.
No.
And they had a team. They had a team that should have been a top 3 or 4 team in any state and anywhere. That team was loaded with talent, and they way underperformed last year. And so, and I know Coach Stoggs, had some health issues and some things. I certainly think that affected the team. I mean, anytime you have your leader that's not healthy, that affects a lot of things. And so,
Yeah.
he's always been a really good coach. And I hope that this year is a different story. Next time, Coach, if you think that I change, coerced your players, just send me a message and ask. I'll tell you. But had nothing to do with that. I want to reiterate that again. So, but at the end of the day, that's a team that has a huge upside. I thought that team, what last year would make it to state easy, would be a Final Four team at least, if not a finals team. And then this year would have been able to just roll right through had they kept all those guys. So didn't happen.
I think that the story of Oklahoma basketball is unless you hear it from the horse's mouth, don't believe it.
Correct.
Because it is a daily thing, and it's stuff that happens even with me. It's like, unless you hear me say it, and I'm pretty outspoken and I speak my mind, and if you know me, I don't really hold back anything, and I don't really care what anybody thinks. So I say what I say. If you didn't come from me, then don't believe it. Because that's a lot of that goes on, and people blaming people, and it all can be solved with a simple phone call.
Bingo, or text message. Everybody knows how to get a hold of everybody.
Yeah, so that's the way I look at it. But that was 6A. That was our top 10. We'll give out our championship predictions when we do our overall preseason preview. We just wanted to address the 6A, and then we'll hit the 5A coaches poll in part 2. So this was part 1. Oklahoma, if you're not subscribed to the Flagrant 2 on YouTube, please do that, because we got some new exciting stuff coming. We'll discuss that at a later time. But please subscribe to the Flagrant 2 on all platforms. Apple, Spotify, killing it on Apple. I know. And listen, I know Coach knows in person, we've been getting a ton of requests. Where have you guys gone? We missed the Flagrant 2. There ain't nobody like the Flagrant 2 in Oklahoma. They're often imitated but never duplicated. I'm telling you right now, the same thing is with Ogie Ball. We're not gone. We're here. We're coming. But just stay with us. We've got some stuff coming down the pipeline. We will continue to watch and do what we do, and try to give you the best in-depth analysis that we can. But remember, we try to fit it in a timely manner. Me and Coach could talk on one team and give you every intricate X and O play. And I know there's some coaches that hit me like, you and Ernie don't give enough. Like, we could do that, and then our whole show would be about one team every time. So it's like
we wouldn't get through
trying to hit so many things at one time. So we appreciate the love. And I know, Coach, you just were telling me some stories. I get it in my inbox every day. We need you guys back weekly. Could y'all guys do a show that? We appreciate that love, and we will be back more consistently as we can be. But remember the motto: it's quality over quantity. Oklahoma.
Quality over quantity.
And stay tuned for part 2. Coach, we out of here. Peace.
All right.